really the way democracy works.
Joining me now is Arkansas Congressman French Hill. He's the chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good to be with you, Maria.
Can you tell us what has been impacted by this shutdown in your portfolio?
Well, Maria, it's good to be with you. And I hope today that the Senate will, a few Democrats in the Senate will join the Republicans in rejecting Chuck Schumer's obstinance in this government shutdown, because it's hurting people. You know, in our portfolio, I think we have people working without pay, but they're working and our markets are safe. Our banks are safe. Our leadership is in place to surveil the financial services system. But that's not the point. The point is that just like Fetterman outlined, we should be continuing to negotiate and find a solution to fiscal 26 spending that's not disrupted by this shutdown. And I think in my own state here in Arkansas, the thing I'm the most concerned about is the fact that Schumer's let the National Flood Program lapse. Fetterman talked about a potential hurricane on the east. So that's a result of Chuck Schumer's negotiating talent. And secondly, our farmers. John Bozeman, our senior senator from Arkansas, is working mightily with the administration to find a path to help our farmers as they enter a terrible harvest season again in terms of price and profitability for the farmers. We have surplus crops from last year, we have low prices, and we have high costs as a result of Ukraine's invasion by Russia. So that's not a good thing, and that's why this is a bad decision by Schumer, and I hope we get Democratic support in the Senate today and reverse this bad decision.
And you're talking about some of the things that were impacted. I mean, the Farm Bill also expired at 12:01 when the government was running out of money. The CISA authorization, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, flood insurance, AGO, the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which was tariff-free access to U.S. markets for 32 African countries. So there are serious issues as a result of this. How long do you expect this to go on if, in fact, this upcoming Senate vote fails again?
Well, we'll see the American people are against Schumer's position. Independents, Republicans, and Democrats, all in the New York Times polling from last week, felt like this was an absolute bad decision, 65% rejecting Schumer's argument. What is Schumer arguing? He's arguing to reverse all the waste, fraud, and abuse sections of our budget reconciliation bill, the big, beautiful bill, which reduced fraud, waste in the Medicaid program, encouraged work. These were common sense things that 80% of Americans support. And in fact, what's one of those items? Despite his best statement that it's untrue, the Democrats do support expanding Medicaid to illegal people who are here, illegal aliens that are here in the United States. Yeah. And I thought your tape with Mike Johnson outlined it perfectly. This is what the argument is. So if Fetterman's right and elections have consequences, President Trump won the popular vote, the electoral college vote, the swing states. He's securing the border. He's securing our national security. He's opening up new markets. And as noted, he's going to cut the budget and try to get the budget back towards balance.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to understand why they're so against the president's agenda when, in fact, things feel pretty good. And the president has talked about national security and laced his whole agenda with national security. Why would one be against that? But, Mr. Chairman, I want to get your take on where legislation stands in the face of all of this, because before the shutdown began, you submitted a letter requesting your pay be withheld. You don't even want to have payment when you're not in the office. Tell us about that, and also tell us about the Clarity Act and where that stands right now in the middle of all of this.
You bet. Well, I can't in good conscience receive a paycheck as a member of Congress if we're not going to pay our military and pay our civil servants that are doing the work of the American people. So I'm going to go without pay while Schumer continues his charade over in the Senate. And that's just the way I think it should be. On your point about clarity, we've made such progress on digital assets. President Trump wants America to be the leading digital assets economy in the world. We passed Genius in July. We passed Clarity with almost 300 votes in the House in July. And now Tim Scott, the chairman of the Senate Banking Committee, Cynthia Lummis, the subcommittee chair for digital assets, are putting together a Democratic and Republican coalition to pass Clarity in the Senate, give us a market framework bill that, when combined with Genius, will lead to President Trump's objective, of my view, of leading the world in digital assets innovation.
That is just terrific, Congressman. Real quick before you go, the Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Paul Atkins has endorsed President Trump's call to replace quarterly corporate reporting with semi-annual corporate reporting. This is a significant development that the SEC is actually supporting this. What's your take on this? The president says maybe we should not have public companies reporting earnings every 3 months. Maybe it should be every 6 months.
Well, you know, before I was in Congress, Maria, I was in the investment management business and the banking business, and I've always believed in more information is better for investors than less. But with that said, there are absolutely some businesses where quarterly reporting is not necessary. And I think that some optionality for corporate boards and corporate management teams to decide what they think's in their best interest there could lower a lot of money. One reason people don't go public is how expensive it is due to the proxy system and the SEC reporting requirements. After Sarbanes-Oxley 20 years ago and after Dodd-Frank, that's a real detriment to small companies going public. So I think it deserves careful review by the SEC.
Yeah, and certainly, you know, you will need time to ensure that the plan complies with the Administrative Procedures Act to limit any legal liability there. But the president's talking about long-term thinking. But you're right. I mean, the information flow is also something to consider. Congressman, it's great to see you as always. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maria.
All right, French Hill joining us.